Good evening, sim racing fans across the globe. LSRTV is proud to present round number 6 of the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series presented by Sim Experience, coming to you live tonight from the Texas Motor Speedway, the Great American Speedway. 125 laps on the board, almost 200 miles scheduled distance on the night here. My name is Justin Rose. Now joining me in the broadcast booth here tonight, the one and only Brian Macklin. Brian, it's good to have you aboard, man. We missed you the last couple of weeks, but a lot's changed here in the RSR landscape here in the last week.
Hey, I've missed being up here in the broadcast booth with you guys. It's been a pleasure to be up here. I'm glad to be back, and this is going to be a very exciting race. I have a feeling you're going to see a lot of tire fall off here, much like we saw in the Sprint Cup Series on Saturday night, for those of you that stayed up that late to watch that race. These guys are going to have their hands full all night long. The longer the run gets, the harder these cars are going to be to drive, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
These cars being harder to drive because this is the first race in this year's edition of the Full Throttle Cup Series with the new low downforce package that we've seen in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. It makes its debut here tonight here in the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series, and qualifying underway. Just 2 minutes left to go in the qualifying session. The 70 of Scott Eckrich up on top of the 28.597 lap, the only guy that's in the 28.5s, and he's shown he's been consistently fast in qualifying. And Brian, we got a lot of stacked guys up here towards the front of the field.
Yeah, looking at Scott Eckrich, he was fastest in practice. He's backed that up and actually ran a little bit faster. He's on the pole right now with a 28.597. Dwayne Vincent is sitting second, and then Anthony DeBarro, who has been on a hot streak since sometime about the middle of last year, he's sitting up there in third. All three of those guys, in my opinion, are favorites to win tonight. I think they're going to be really fast, and if they can come out of here with a clean race, they're going to have a shot to win this thing.
Speaking of drivers who have been winners here at Texas Motor Speedway, last year in the spring race, we had ourselves a dandy. Jeff Ward got his first RSR Full Throttle Cup Series victory here last year over Nick Silver, and Nick Silver got the chrome horn sent to him. He's driving the 51 this year. Last year it was the 25, and Nick Silver finished second in that race, and he was very disappointed, but alas, he was ready for the bump and run. But as we get ready to roll here, we're going to send it down trackside for opening ceremonies before we get ready for the Texas 125 from the Great American Speedway.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Welcome back, everybody. Red and black flags being displayed here. Just 10 seconds for everybody to get in their last qualifying lap, and it does appear the 70th Scott Eckrich will take home the pole for tonight's race. He's done that a couple times already this year, and as we get ready to roll off here for the Texas 195, give or take, is the mileage for the laps here. Brian, let's take a look at our Sim Experience starting lineup.
Yep, starting on the pole, as you just said, Scott Eckrich is going to take the pole position here tonight at Texas. Dwayne Vincent's going to start to his outside with a 28.614. He's going to round out that front row. Anthony DeBarro will start third. Joseph Theis is going to start fourth, and Daniel E. Eberhardt is going to start fifth.
Starting outside of row number 3 in the 6th spot will be 2 weeks ago winner David Washington won the Martinsville race the last time RSR was on the track. Inside row number 4 7th to the 23 of Greg Evans, 24 Thomas George in 8th. 9th spot goes to the 45 of Carl Shedd, and Chad Cole, the original wheelman, he'll start 10th.
Jose Gonzalez in that meatball machine. He's going to start P11 tonight. Christopher Hurlow is going to start in the 12th position. Matt Lacrosse will start 13th. Kyle Tarasca will start in the 14th position. And rounding out the top 15, Mike Kelly is going to start 15th.
The 5 and Ann Murray will start 16th. 17th to the 33 of Glenn Campbell. 51 and Nick Silver finished second here last year. He starts 18th. 19th spot goes to the 22 of Bobby Terrell. Good to see him back. And rounding out the top 20, the 69 of Corbin Hemstreet.
Scott Simley will start in the 21st position. CJ Lavere will start 22nd. Sean Casto is going to start 23rd. Nelson Rivera will be 24th. And rounding out the top 25, Nicholas Cohan.
The Nerfinator, the 91, Steve Goshawk will roll off 26th. 27th to the 66 of Brian Harvey. The 84 of Jimmy North will roll off 28th. 29 to the 34 of Sean Boundy. The 42 of Scott Stenzel rounds out your top 30.
Adam Blattel is 31st tonight. Kevin Linden will start 32nd. Brennan Mercer will start 33rd. Mark Bratcher will start 34th. And the last person that took time tonight, Rick McBride, he's going to qualify 35th. The rest of your drivers started on provisional.
54, Tim Matthews will roll off 36th. 37th to 99 of Stefan Marinak. 96 of Mitch Rollo rolls off 38th. 39 spot goes to the 12 of Ross Cato. The 43 of Doug Ross starts 40th. 41st, the 31 of Mike Montezi. 36 Rich Jetty starts 42nd. 43rd to the 28 of Douglas Wyatt. And those are the 43 cars that will make up your Sim Experience starting lineup. And Brian, as we get ready to fire these guys off here, a little bit of a dangerous spot here is the leaders are going to pace their turns 1 and 2. That's really going to be the biggest trouble spot, especially off turn 2.
Yeah, you're seeing the track facts on the track or on the screen right now, and like you said, off turn 2 is going to be that risky spot. There's a bump in the middle of turns 1 and 2 that they're going to have to maneuver over all night long, and as the tires wear out and as these cars start losing the handle, that is going to be even harder to do. It's going to be very interesting to see who's going to come out on top tonight. This is going to be a very fun race, and you're going to see a lot of comers and goers. I expect to see some of these guys that qualified badly to move towards the front as the runs move on.
And as we get ready to fire them off here for the first time here tonight, the American Childhood Cancer Organization pace car gets ready to make the hard left-hand turn to the safety of pit road. Field going to be in the hands of the 70 of Scott Eckridge. He's going to waste no time. He stands on it, and the American Ethanol green flag waves in the air. We are underway here from Texas. Eckridge going to get a big lead going off into turn number 1. The 9 of Anthony DeBarro going to use that inside line to get the advantage over defending Cup champion, the 13 of Dwayne Vincent, and the leaders try to get a single file as they head towards the back straightaway.
Single file already through the first 15 cars. We have a caution already on the back straightaway. We have a car around down the back straightaway. It's a huge pile up, at least 10 to 15 cars it looks like already here on lap 1. We did not even complete a lap. I saw the one of Sean Casto. It looks like he might have been where this accident began. We're going to have to go back and try to get a replay of it. We'll hopefully get that on your screen in just a moment.
Replay going to go up on your screen. I'm seeing the 66 of Brian Harvey involved, the 1 of Sean Castle, the 91. I'm also seeing several other cars. I think that might possibly be the 22 involved. I see the 4s involved. Many cars involved on this, and a big junk here on the opening lap. And that'll put us underneath the yellow flag for the first time here tonight, and already carnage on the back straightaway.
Hey Justin, didn't you say that the trouble spot of this track was off turn 2? I believe we saw that before we even got off turn 2 for the first time here. That was crazy. Just a little bit of contact between Sean Casto and the number 61 there coming off turn 2. Just one of those deals where I feel like the 61 was trying to get a run on him and just got too close, and unfortunately he got into the back of him and caused a huge mess. And the problem with this track, especially down the back straightaway, is there's really nowhere to hide. When something happens, you have a wall to your inside, you have a wall to your outside. You don't have a lot of room to avoid anything. So when cars start spinning, you really have nowhere to go. You're just going to be along for the ride and hope you don't get caught up in it.
A lot of drivers coming down pit road. They put heavy flat spots on their tires here, and now that we have the dynamic tire and the dynamic track surface, you're going to see guys that lock them up come down and get 4 fresh ones. Guys are already going to come down and get repairs made to their vehicles, those that had light contact, and already I'm seeing about 7, 8 drivers already behind the wall getting repairs made to those machines. They're going to be the 4 of CJ Lavere, the 61 of Nicholas Cohan, the 91 of Steve Gottschalk, the 66 of Brian Harvey, 34 of Sean Bounty, the 41 of Adam Littell, the 46 of Mark Bratcher, the 1 of Sean Castle also had heavy damage involved with that. The 2 of Rhett McBride, I do believe, got a big piece of that as well. Upwards of 10 to 12 cars involved in that first caution flag.
Yeah, and hopefully that big wreck was enough to make these guys want to calm down and try to get into a rhythm so they can actually try to get some racing in. That's the last thing you want to see, is have a wreck on the first lap. You don't want to see a wreck anytime, but you certainly don't want to see it on the first lap, and hopefully that got into these guys' heads, and they're going to get out there and do some good racing without causing any more issues. This should be a good race if they get spread out and the tires actually start falling off. You're going to see who can manage their tires the best if we get a long green flag run, because with this new dynamic surface and the way these tires fall off, you have to manage your tires throughout the entire run, or you're going to end up falling back. After about 10 to 15 laps, you won't even stand a chance up here at the front. So it's going to be very interesting to see. I feel like a veteran like Chad Cole is going to be one of the best at that tonight. If he gets a long green flag run, I look to see him move to the front.
And that very well could be the case. He's been around here for a while, but as it stands right now, the 70th Scott Eckridge going to be out front here on the restart, as I do believe we are 1 to go. The 9 of Anthony Navarro going to restart on the outside. The 13 of Dwayne Vincent going to roll off third on this restart, and Daniel Eberhardt, the 90, he'll restart in the 4th position. In the 5th spot, the 25 of Joseph Tice. Basically, the top 5 guys a little bit mixed up. The outside line going to have a little bit of a disadvantage here on the restart. And Brian, I know that if you're somebody like Anthony Navarro, you got to time it just right if you have any prayer getting going here in the early stages.
Yeah, and the other issue is being on the outside line, you tend to spin your tires more trying to get up to speed when they take the green flag, and that's going to be an issue we're going to see these guys facing all night long, as the iRacing Ford First Mustang is about to duck to the safety of pit road. Scott Eckridge has control once again, green flag in the air, and once again he wastes no time getting on the loud pedal and getting away from this field. He's clear of Anthony Navarro. He sets his sights towards turn 1. Anthony Navarro is going to be stuck out on the outside line, much like Dwayne Vincent was on the initial start. Now they're side by side battling for second as they come off turn 2.
The 13 of Dwayne Vincent going to pick this battle up here for P2. One car gets loose. It's going to... one car around the 98 of David Washington spins on the back straightaway. Trouble off of turn 2. And that's going to put us underneath the second caution flag. We haven't even made it a half a lap, Brian.
Once again, off turn 2, the trouble spot. Fortunately for David Washington, it does not look like he makes contact with the inside wall, and as I'm watching myself, I do not see any cars come in and hit him, so he's going to need 4 fresh Goodyears, but he's going to have a clean race car and still be able to get back out there and have a shot at this thing. But yeah, this is crazy. We're 5 laps in. We've already got 2 cautions. Not anything like I was expecting to see here in the early stages, but these guys are definitely going to have to calm it down some if they want to get a long green flag run going.
And as it stands, this time we're underneath the caution flag, and then we'll use this opportunity to take a caution flag of our own. We're going to take this opportunity to step aside, coming to you live from the Great American Speedway. This is the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series on iRacing Live and LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. Welcome back, everybody, to the Texas 125 here for the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series here on LSRTV. It's still going to be the 70 of Scott Eckrich. 2 early cautions have slowed the pace here as we get ready to go. 1 to go signal being given to the field as they get ready to double up. And like we said, turn 2, the trouble spot. Let's hope these guys can get it sorted out because let's get some really good running in here.
Yeah, I heard the admins talking on the private channel. They're not really sure what's going on. They're hoping these guys calm it down, and they've actually also said across the public channel that these drivers need to settle down. It's a long race. They know they need to get the job done, but they don't need to do it on the first lap. So hopefully these guys are going to start settling down here very soon. It's kind of crazy. Last week's race winner, David Washington, is going to spin off turn 2. Fortunately for him, like we said, he did not get any damage. He just spun down this track and then was able to keep it off the wall and nobody hit him. So going to be very interesting to watch him try to move back up through the field. Right now, he's sitting back there in the 32nd position, so he's going to have a lot of cars to pass if he's going to get back up front and try to compete for this win and get 2 in a row.
A long road to hoe nonetheless for David Washington. He has the talent to get it done. He's hooked up with a good team in Aegis Motorsports, and they've certainly put themselves in the catbird seat. More about that later as far as the team championship goes. But the American Ethanol green flag going to wave once again. Scott Eckrich on the loud pedal once again. He's going to come up through the gearbox. He's going to bring along the 13 of Dwayne Vincent. And again, this restart powered by American Ethanol. American-made, American-grown, powering NASCAR. If it's good enough for NASCAR, it's good enough for your car. And it is fueled by corn. Battle for the second spot. Anthony Navarro going to cross Dwayne Vincent over. He's going to dive it down to the bottom. That's going to open the door for the 90 of Daniel Eberhardt. They're going to go wheel to wheel off turn 4, side by side. And Eberhardt going to get the advantage at the stripe as Vincent goes from 2nd to 4th on that restart.
Yeah, we finally completed a lap of green here. These guys are trying to get settled in. Daniel Eberhardt moves into the 3rd position. He's now setting his sights on Anthony DeBarro, who's also setting his sights on Scott Eckrich. These guys are trying to reel each other in. Dwayne Vincent kind of fell back here on this restart. He's back to the 4th position right now, trying to fend off Greg Evans in the number 23 machine. Not able to get the run on him right now. These guys are single file through about the first 15 positions or so. I'm trying to find a battle deeper in the field, and I have not found one yet. Looks like actually we do have a battle for about the 13th position. You've got Mike Kelly racing side by side right now, trying to hold off Jose Gonzalez as they come off turn 2.
Battle underway there. Christopher Hurlow in the 87 again trying to hold off the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. The 87 of Hurlow no longer with Boomtown Sim. A falling out of sorts with the team that has left him an independent driver here in this series. And Mike Kelly, you made a good point there. Mike Kelly has run very strong here. He's got himself in position. He's in the right lane on the bottom side as Hurlow free falling through the field. He was inside the top 10 there on that last restart, and now he's going to find himself somewhere around 12th or 14th by the time he gets back to the start-finish line this time around. Jose Gonzalez has that preferred line down on the bottom. There's a train of 3 cars to the inside of Christopher Hurlow, the 80 of Mike Kelly, the 51 of Nick Silver, going to complete that train on the inside as everybody else appears to be single file from there on up.
Yeah, Christopher Hurlow needs to be really careful right now because being out on that outside line and really trying to race Jose Gonzalez the way he is, that is eating his tires alive. And if this thing stays green like it looks like it might finally do, he does not want to be in this position because in about 10 to 15 laps, he's going to drop like a rock. He really needs to try to get clear to that bottom, whether it means letting these guys go and just settling in behind them or trying to get clear. And it looks like he's actually going to get clear of Jose Gonzalez. It looks like he will. He'll get clear to the inside. He's going to move down in front of Jose Gonzalez, and he'll take control of that 11th position. That's what he needed because the longer he stayed on that outside groove, the harder he was going to use his tires up and the worse off he was going to be after a few laps. So good move by him. And now you see Mike Kelly working around Jose Gonzalez. Jose does not put up a fight at all. That also opens the door for Nick Silver. Nick Silver actually caught the apron coming off turn 4. He had to check up, and that allowed Jose Gonzalez to get clear of him off turn 4.
Top 15, 16, 17, call it the top 20, all single file on the racetrack. Got several drivers already out of the race. 31 cars left here on the lead lap in the early going here Going to run 43, a little bit different than NASCAR Sprint Cup's 40 that they've installed this year. Everybody in the field doing their best to get along here, as I believe we have 12 drivers off the pace already. Scott Eckridge still out in front by about a half-second lead. Eberhardt's trying to challenge the 9 machine of Anthony DeBarro for the second spot. He gets close to the back bumper, and then it's almost like he loses grip on his machine or hits the apron, and he falls back about a car length or two, Brian. And Eberhardt, we know he's an aggressive driver. Just how hard is he trying to push her in the early going?
Evidently, it looks like he's trying pretty hard. He's underneath Anthony DeBarro, battling hard for that second position. He's not going to be able to get clear of him off turn 4. He's going to have to work on him down in turns 1 and 2. Anthony DeBarro is going to try to stay as tight to him as they come down into turn 1, trying to pinch him. Looks like he's actually going to let him go. He lets off the gas early going into turn 1 and lets Daniel Eberhardt go. Daniel is able to move into the second position. Anthony DeBarro now is going to try to cross him over as they come off turn 2. He's back to the inside now, going to try to take that second position back away from Daniel. We got a heck of a battle going on here for second. That's going to allow Dwayne Vincent to try to sneak up into the picture. Daniel Eberhardt's going to try to fight back off turn 4. He's still got a nose to the outside of Anthony DeBarro. He's trying to hang in there for as long as he can. Is he going to try to do it down here in turns 1 and 2? Yes, he will. He's still trying to battle him. Now he finally settles in for third.
Eberhardt's going to diamond the corner off. He's going to peek to the inside of Anthony DeBarro off of turn number 2. He's looking to the inside and not going to get there. Is DeBarro going to shut the door on him on the entry into turn number 3? And that's going to allow your leader, Scott Eckridge. He pulled out already a half a second in about 2.5 laps, Brian. That's a pretty impressive gap to open up in such a short time. But of course, when you're racing side by side at about 195 miles an hour, that's going to happen, especially because the guy out front, he's got clean air. These guys are scrapping with each other and wearing their tires out early.
Yeah, and they certainly are. And something I was just looking at, from the restart on lap 10 to where they are now, they've already dropped off about 6/10 from that opening lap of the restart. They're already giving up that much time on the track, and the longer they run, the more they're going to give up. You're going to see about a 2-second fall off before these guys come to pit road, and I have a feeling you'll see a lot of short pit strategy if this thing stays green. You'll probably see these drivers coming to pit road about every 30 to 35 laps. While the fuel run might be 50 laps, you're not going to want to stay out there that long on tires, because if you get one person that comes to pit road and gets fresh tires, they're going to have an advantage and be able to go up there and take the lead away very quickly.
Battle for the 15th spot, the 69 of Corbin Hemstreet working to the inside of the 22 of Bobby Terrell in one car looping around. That's the 96 of Mitch Rollo. Trouble on the front straightaway. No caution flag going to come out, and Rollo going to lose the handle on his machine and come down pit road, and he's going to get a penalty for that. Tough luck for the driver of the 96 at the Boomtown entry. And how about the 22 of Bobby Terrell? He's fighting back on the high side. He's going to clear the 69 of Corbin Hemstreet going off into turn number 3.
Yeah, while that battle's going on, I just want to say the 96 of Mitch Rollo, he never actually hit pit road. While he was out of control, he was actually able to hang on to that car and keep it in the grass, so there will not be a penalty for him. He's just going to lose a lot of time on the track, but he will not have to serve any pit road penalties. So a very heads-up moment for him to keep that car in the grass and not go down pit road to avoid that penalty. Now back to the battle on the track. Corbin Hemstreet to the inside of Bobby Terrell as they work down the back straightaway. It looked like he was going to have the momentum to get to him. He's still trying to squeeze to the inside of him as they go down into turn 3. Right now he's trying to get that run off turn 4, not going to have the momentum to get up to his door and make a true challenge. He's going to have to try to do it down in turn 1.
Hemstreet battling back. He's trying to side draft and use some of that side force on these Gen 6 cars. He gets a little loose into turn number 1. Going to see if he's going to lose any ground to Bobby Terrell off of turn number 2. Mike Kelly tries to stick his nose to the inside of the 42 machine at Scott Stenzel. He's involved. It's a 5-way battle here for the 15th spot. And how about David Washington in the 98? He restarted outside the top 30 here on this last restart. He's already up 10 positions or more from where he restarted, and he's trying to do his best to work around this traffic here. But Corbin Hemstreet and the 42 of Scott Stenzel, they're door to handle on 1 and 2. They're going to go side by side through turns 1 and 2 and battle it out on the back straightaway, edge to the 69 of Corbin Hemstreet.
A little bit of a bobble from Hemstreet as they came off turn 2, but he was able to clear and make that pass. That allows Mike Kelly to move to the inside now, as he's going to try to take that position as well, and he does so very easily. So that moves him up ahead of Scott Stenzel as they work off turn 4. Scott Stenzel trying to make that outside line work and actually got a really good run as they came down the front straightaway off turn 4. He's going to get back to the outside of Mike Kelly. He's now going to try to make that outside line work down here in turns 1 and 2. Not going to be able to make it work the way he did in 3 and 4, but he's still got a good run down the back straightaway. He actually gets loose. He almost wrecks it. He saves it, but almost wrecked it as it came off turn 2. Got very sideways, had to give up a lot of time and give up a couple of positions, but he was very good holding on to that car right there.
That was a very good move by Scott Stenzel, but how about the 98 of David Washington? I think he stacked a little air right up on the back deck lid of the 42 of Stenzel right there off of 2, and that's a very notorious spot where you can get somebody arrow loose. And how about Washington? He's going to do it again. He runs all the way up to the wall. He's the first guy I've seen searching for grip, and it looks like it's working for him. He's not really losing too much ground to the leaders already. Scott Eckert is still out to a 9/10 of a second lead, and the only battle on the racetrack right now is right around that 16th, 17th spot right now. Washington in the 98 working the back deck of the 80 of Mike Kelly. And they're looking and searching all over the racetrack. Washington really trying to move up to the front, but you have to wonder how hard is he going to use up his stuff, because he's really running an aggressive line.
Yeah, I'm really impressed that he's making it work like that. I've not seen anybody be able to run that high up in turns 1 and 2 and actually make it work. And like you said, he's not losing any time. He's actually making some time as he gets a huge run off the corner. He's able to really gain ground on the guys in front of him. He's trying to get to the inside or the outside of Mike Kelly as they work down the front straightaway. Not sure which way he's going to go yet. Looks like he's going to peek to the inside. Yes, he will. He's going to take that position. It looks like Mike Kelly might have just waved him by, because as they went off into turn 1, Mike let out of the gas and let him go. So that's going to move David Washington up into the 17th position. A very steady march for this driver after his self-spin off turn 2. He's making a very nice comeback, trying to move back up through the field. If he can get a long green flag run here and he can come to pit road and get some fresh tires, I feel like he could still be a threat to win this thing. He's got a very fast race car.
Another driver that's taken notice of the high line starting to come into play, the 22 of Bobby Terrell. He's looking to move up about a half a lane or so. You see him running the middle of the racetrack. The 69 of Corbin Hemstreet, he's going to go side by side with him, and he's really digging on the bottom, but Terrell really gets the strong run on the back straight. He just powers right back around him around the outside, and that's pretty much good night if Terrell can help keep that middle line from wearing out here during the middle of the race. So I think he's learned something just by watching what's going on in his rearview mirror. But we take a look back up towards the front of the field. It's still all Scott Eckridge. He's led all 30 laps thus far on the Texas 125. Anthony DeBarro in second. 1.1 back from Scott Eckridge, and Daniel Eberhardt 1.7 back. 4 spot 1.9 back is the 13 of Dwayne Vincent, and rounding out the top 5, the 25 of Joseph Tice. He's 2.1 back. Everybody single file up front. It's really a good battle from about 10th on back.
Yeah, we have a very nice battle going on for the 11th, 12th, and 13th position. You got Jose Gonzalez, you've got Christopher Hurlow, and you have Nick Silver all battling it out very hard right now for those 3 positions. You have Christopher Hurlow on the outside line trying to make that second and third groove work. He was not able to hold off Jose Gonzalez. He's now fighting with Nick Silver for that position. It looks like Nick Silver's car is really handling good right now. He's able to get that car to the bottom, and he's able to make it stick, but Hurlow is hanging on tough on that outside line. He is doing a good job. We have cars coming to pit road right here. Our first round of green flag pit stops are happening, and Justin, I believe you've seen who's coming down.
The 9 of Anthony DeBarro, the 25 of Joseph Tice, all on pit road. They elect a short pit here on lap number 33. They're going to come down pit road and take service on their machines. They're hoping to make this a 3-stop race and really try to put the pressure on everybody. Some guys might try to make it a 2-stopper, but Brian, really, with as much time as you give up on these tires, you almost have to make it a 3-stop race.
Yeah, and while we're talking about that, we have more cars coming to pit road. Eberhardt, Dwayne Vincent's on pit road. Chad Cole is on pit road. A lot of your front runners right now coming to pit road. Once they see one driver come to pit road, they have to come as soon as possible because they cannot afford to give up that much time on the racetrack. We were seeing lap times already fall off over 2 seconds from where they started at the beginning of this run, so they have to come in and get tires. All 4 of those drivers on pit road getting 4 fresh tires and fuel. Looks like they got into their pit boxes cleanly, and it looks like Daniel Eberhardt's going to be the first one off pit road. Dwayne Vincent's going to try to be the second one, then Chad Cole, and Matt Lacrosse also is on pit road with these guys.
Many drivers on pit road right now, and if you're somebody on fresher tires, you got to beware coming up through traffic not to use up your stuff, because there are guys that are much slower, and you're seeing the 9 of Anthony DeBarro clear the 90 of Daniel Eberhardt by what seems like a long country mile. He made up a lot of ground, it looks like, on the pit stop there. Still waiting on see where the 70 of Scott Eckrich is going to cycle out, but as it stands, it looks like it could very well be the 70 machine of Scott Eckrich. Looks like he's going to gain some ground possibly as the pit stops cycle around.
Yeah, Anthony DeBarro actually just passed Scott Eckrich as he was coming off pit road, so Anthony DeBarro should cycle around to be your new race leader. He's actually almost the full distance of the back straightaway ahead of Scott Eckrich, and we actually just had a very tight moment between Scott and Dwayne Vincent. Scott was trying to get up to speed and trying to get up on the racetrack, and he actually pulled up in front of Dwayne Vincent, who was at full speed coming off turn 2, and they almost had an accident there going off turn 2, but fortunately, very heads-up move by Dwayne Vincent. He was able to cut low and avoid it, but that could have been disastrous for two of our front runners and our defending series champion. That could have been a very, very bad moment for both of those guys. But Anthony DeBarro is way ahead of these guys right now. He's probably about 4 to 5 seconds ahead. David Washington is your race leader right now. We have not seen him come to pit road yet. I assume he must be going for the two-stop strategy, Justin, that you were talking about. He's been out there for way too long now, and at this point, if you're going to stay out, you have to just kind of lay in the bed that you've made for yourself, because he's giving up way too much time at this point.
Some 2.5 seconds per lap, and it does appear about 15 drivers have yet to actually call it 7 drivers yet to make service on their vehicles. Anthony DeBarro, the first one on fresh tires that has made service already, and I see a couple other drivers heading down pit road. And now your leader, the 98 of David Washington, he gets a little squirrely coming down onto pit road as he gets it wound down to the 45-mile-an-hour speed limit here at the Texas Motor Speedway. He's going to send it down to the attention of his pit crew, and you got to wonder, was this a smart gamble by David Washington?
Yeah, at this point, he's going to be trapped several seconds behind where he was at before these pit stops began. He had moved up inside the top 16 or 17 positions, and I have a feeling you're going to see him fall well outside of the top 20 just based on how long he waited. It will benefit him in the longer run because he's going to have fresh tires and he'll be able to make up some of that time, but I don't think he's going to be able to make up all of the time. So he's going to probably need a caution to get back into this as he's working his way off pit road now. We're going to see where he cycles through once everybody crosses the start-finish line and the scoring updates once again. Right now, Tim Matthews is your race leader. We have not seen him come to pit road yet either. Brendan Mercer is sitting in the second position. Sean Casto is third, and Mike Montesi is fourth. All of those drivers at this point have not come to pit road, and in my opinion, it looks like they must be just riding out here hoping that a caution is going to come out to give them some track position. You see Tim Matthews in the 54. He's actually on pit road right now. Brendan Mercer is going to stay out and lead a lap, but Tim Matthews is on pit road to get his car serviced right now.
With this round of pit stops coming to a close, we're going to take this opportunity to make a pit stop of our own. We're going to take this moment to step aside, coming to you live, bringing you the Texas 125 here for the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series. This is iRacing Live and LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Texas 125 here for the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series. Looking at your leader, the number 9, Anthony Navarro. He is out by 0.6 of a second over the 90 of Daniel Eberhardt. Those two had amazing pit stops here underneath the green flag. And just to give you a bit of a comparison, Brian, the 9 and 90 had some 5 and 5.5 seconds better in and out time over the original leader, the 70 of Scott Eckrich, who finds himself in the fifth spot, now 4th spot on the latest cycle as he's battling with Dwayne Vincent for that 3rd spot. But 5.5 seconds, that's an eternity of time made up, especially, I mean, can you consider it part of the short pit strategy, or is it just getting in and off pit road that much better?
Well, there is so much that goes into a green flag pit stop at any track, because the driver has to play a big part of it, first of all, because they have to be able to get slowed down and onto pit road without speeding, but they also need to do it as quickly as possible. And we see it in real life all the time in the Sprint Cup Series. Kyle Busch is one of the best at charging onto pit road, but being able to get down to the speed limit without getting that speeding penalty week in and week out. He makes time on pit road on green flag pit stops like no other, and it looks like that's what we saw here tonight with Anthony DeBarro and Daniel Eberhardt. They got on the pit road really strong. They did not speed, but they took a big chunk out of it right there, because they were able to get on a lot quicker than Scott Eckrich. Their pit crews did the job, and then they were able to get back up to speed very quickly coming off pit road. And all of that plays into what we see here with them having over a 3-second advantage on him right now, or actually it's 2.8 seconds right now. As Scott Eckrich moved up into the 3rd position, he was able to pass Dwayne Vincent and Greg Evans for those 2 positions, and he's moving back up into the 3rd position. But there's just so much that goes into a green flag pit stops, and in that first round, these 2 succeeded the best.
And as we watch the top 5 kind of get sorted out in single file of sorts here, Anthony Navarro still trying to manage his 0.4 of a second gap over the 90 Daniel Eberhardt. Eckrich is on the storm. He's cut that gap down about a second over the last 5 laps or so. But you kind of have to wonder, with this being a very abrasive surface, almost more so than Atlanta or even the old Darlington, you kind of have to wonder, Brian, just how much is that Eckrich just a machine pushing just to burn up his stuff, or is it just he's really that much faster? Because he took another 0.3 of a second out of the lead of Anthony DeBarro.
Well, by now, these guys have been on these tires for almost 20 laps. They all started making their green flag pit stops around lap 32 and 33. So by now, if he was going to have burned his stuff up, we would already see it, and he wouldn't be gaining time. So I feel like he did a good job managing his tires. I almost want to say that Anthony DeBarro and Daniel Eberhardt have been racing each other as far as setting the pace for each other. I feel like Anthony DeBarro has been running harder, which is making Daniel Eberhardt run harder, and they've burnt their stuff up. As Scott Eckrich has now cut another couple of tenths off. He's down to 2.1 seconds behind these guys. The disadvantage to this right here is, based on what we saw with the first round of green flag pit stops, we're going to see these guys coming back to pit road in less than 10 laps for fresh tires again. So he needs to make as much time as he can right now, and then he needs to try to do a better job on pit road to try not to give up that time, because if this thing stays green, he cannot continue to give up that time on pit road, because eventually he's going to get too far behind and he's not going to be able to make it up on the track.
Everybody on the racetrack appears to be single file. One battle looking like it's shaping up. It's going to be for that 16th spot, and it's already over because David Washington gets back around the 26 of Jose Gonzalez, and he sets his sights on the 69 at Corbin Him Street, and he's looking like he's going to get in a battle with the 69 at Him Street.
Yeah, right now those guys are having a very impressive battle back there. They're trying to work their way through some lap traffic as well. You see these guys trying to maneuver through a little bit of lap traffic. Corbin Him Street now trying to work under the number 15 of Scott Simley. He actually was not able to get the job done there. Scott Simley got a good run off turn 4, and now he's trying to move up to that 3rd groove as they go through turns 1 and 2 to try to make something happen, but his tires are just wore out. You see David Washington, we talked about him not too long ago. He was that guy that stayed out for a few laps longer. He is on the charge right now because he's got fresher tires, but the issue is he's 11 seconds behind the race leader, and when these pit stops began, he was only 5 seconds behind, so you can see how much he gave up by staying out there as long as he did. He's making a lot of time now, but he's given up way too much time.
Battle starting to shape up for the lead spot. Anthony DeBarro losing ground as the 90 of Daniel Eberhardt has reeled him in. It's about 4 car lengths or so, call it 3 through turns 3 and 4. Coming around this time by to complete lap number 56. We're about 8 laps or so from halfway. And already the 70 of Scott Eckridge from over 3.5 seconds back is cutting down to 1.1 seconds. The gap 0.230 seconds that last time by between the 9 at DeBarro and the 90 of Eberhardt. Is Eberhardt going to dive in that corner? He's going to get a rocket of a ship coming down the back straightaway. He's sailing that machine in there. He's right in hot in the tire tracks of Anthony DeBarro through 3 and 4. This is going to be a good battle already because these two are no stranger to mixing it up on the racetrack, because I tell you what, Brian, Eberhardt and DeBarro, they certainly cross paths, and it's been fireworks at times.
Oh, that it has, and business has picked up at the front. Both of these drivers have been told you have the 70 coming in your mirror. They need to pick up the pace if they're going to hang on to this thing. But the problem is, I don't think they have the tires to pick up the pace any. They're running as hard as they can with what they've got, and Scott is still just charging these guys down lap after lap after lap. He's cutting 2 to 3 tenths in. Daniel Eberhardt right on the back bumper of Anthony DeBarro as they come off turn 4. Looked like he was going to have a good run down the straightaway, but he had to check up a little bit. That took away his momentum. He's not able to make the move that he wanted to make. Now he runs high down in turns 1 and 2, but Scott Eckridge is now less than 3 car lengths behind these guys. He is there, and just in a matter of moments we're going to have a battle, and we do have a battle for the lead. Daniel Eberhardt charges to the inside. He's going to try to take this lead away from Anthony DeBarro as they go through turns 3 and 4.
DeBarro not going to give up. He's going to sneak over and try to look to the inside off of turn number 4. Going to try to get to the door and not going to make it happen. It's a 3-way battle for the top spot. Eberhardt to the lead on lap number 59 and working lap number 60. Eckridge to the inside of DeBarro. He's going to make it a 2-for-1 as he's inside of Eberhardt through 1 and 2 as they head off down the back straightaway.
Down the back straightaway, he's going to stick his nose in there, trying to get to the inside of Daniel Eberhardt. Eberhardt cuts him off as they go into turn 3. He drove it off in there way harder than he has all night. He was able to make that work. Scott Eckridge let him have the position. Anthony DeBarro to pit road. He's decided he's had enough. He's coming to pit road for 4 fresh tires and fuel. Now it's going to be interesting to see what do these other 2 leaders do. They almost have to come in immediately because he's going to make up a ton of time if they don't.
Leaders forcing each other's hands. We're going to wait to take the iRacing.com midway race break until the round of pit stops are over. But as it stands right now, battle for the top spot and battle no more. The 90 of Eberhardt just pulls over and lets the 70 of Scott Eckridge go through turns 3 and 4. Eckridge gone, as I do believe the 90 of Eberhardt now comes down to the safety of pit road. He's decided he's had enough. It's all Eckridge right now as he had the better tires here through this late stage of the run.
Yeah, Eckridge stays out there for another lap. Eberhardt's to pit road trying to get his 4 fresh tires and fuel. Anthony DeBarro has already been down, and he is moving back onto the racetrack right now. Eberhardt, meanwhile, trying to get into his box cleanly. He slides through. He's got to back up into his pit box. That's going to cost him a ton of time on pit road. That could easily cost him 2 to 3 seconds. So now he's going to have his work cut out for him. Scott Eckridge, meanwhile, has elected to stay out on the racetrack one more time. He did not come down now. He's officially going to be giving up about 2 seconds a lap. The longer he stays out here, the worse he's going to be, but we saw him do it once before. He was able to run these guys back down and take the lead, so I'm certain he can do it again.
Halfway around next time by. 63 going to be in the book. 62 laps to go here for the Texas 125. Leaders already making their rounds of pit stops. The 23 of Greg Evans was on pit road, and now your leader, the 70 of Scott Eckridge, will dive down to pit road. That's going to hand the lead to the 13 of Dwayne Vincent. He's going to stay out and lead him a lap, and he's right there in contention, but gosh, I might say we might need a caution flag if Vincent wants a shot to get 4 fresh good ones and have any shot, because he's had about, what, a 4th, 5th place car all night long, Brian?
Yeah, he's been hanging in there right around that 4th to 5th position, but he seems like he's got a good car. If they had a caution and he could get closed up on these guys, I feel like he might be able to make a charge. It looks like he might be coming to pit road this time by. I take it back. He's not coming to pit road. He slowed down a lot, but it looks like he was just trying to make the corner. He's going to stay out there for at least another lap. Scott Eckridge has been down and is coming out of his pit box trying to get up to speed. We saw Anthony DeBarro just flash by him going into turn 1. Anthony DeBarro with a big advantage. Daniel Eberhardt also with an advantage, but he is about 1.5 seconds, maybe 2 seconds behind Anthony DeBarro as they go down the back straightaway. So both of those drivers are going to have their work cut out for them if they're going to run Anthony DeBarro back down and make a battle for this lead once again. Anthony DeBarro seems like he has been the one constant at the front. He's been up there pretty much all night long, and I'd certainly say he's probably one of the favorites to win this race if it stays like this.
Certainly could be, but you also have to account for the fact that the 13 of Dwayne Vincent's still out on the racetrack. Might be no, he's still out on the racetrack. He's trying to do his best to hold off everybody trying to unlap themselves. But right now, as it stands, it's got to be about 2.5 seconds the gap between the 9 of DeBarro, the 90 of Eberhardt, and Scott Eckeridge had maybe another bad pit stop or gave up a lot of time on old tires, just 2 laps. The extra distance between himself and DeBarro, and that's going to be probably about a 5 or 6 second gap once again. So you kind of have to wonder, okay, if you're Eckeridge, if you see DeBarro peel off towards pit road, is it time for you to come down to pit road?
See, being a driver and being in this position, I feel like I would be making that decision to come to pit road as soon as I see the other 2 coming. I wouldn't want to stay out there for 2 or 3 laps the way we saw Scott stay out there. They might know something we don't, but I just feel like that's it, in the long run. It's going to end up digging himself a hole that he can't get out of. I think he can run him down once again because he did it once, but if he has a bad stop, if he gets off pit road slowly, if anything happens that takes any more time off of what he's already losing, then he's going to be in a hole that he can't get back out of. And that's why I think you need to come to pit road as soon as possible to try to keep that from being any worse than it already will be. He had a fast car there. Being out there for an extra 3 laps isn't going to help him that much to where he needs to stay out there. I feel like he just needs to make that call and come to pit road as soon as possible.
You have to wonder, what is Dwayne Vincent doing out this far into a run? I mean, it's lap number 69 on the board, 68 in the books already, and Dwayne Vincent, he's giving up some 2 seconds, 2.2, 2.3 seconds a lap over Anthony DeBarro, who's pitted about 10 laps ago or so. So yeah, he's going to have fresher tires later in the run, and it looks like he is indeed going to come down to pit road this time. No, he's not.
Actually, no, he's not. And I just looked at where we're at in this race, and if he stays out there for another 3 to 4 laps, he could potentially make this a one-stop race from here, where everybody else is going to come at least probably 2 more times, I would say. I have a feeling you'll see him come 1 more time and that be it, because at this point we have 55 laps to go, and if he can get inside 50 laps to go, he can make it to the end on fuel without having to come. The issue is going to be when those guys get on fresh tires, he's going to be at a disadvantage by about 2 to 2.5 seconds per lap. And if he has too many laps left, these guys are going to eat him up and just run him over. It's going to make for some exciting racing. It's going to make it fun for us to call. But I'm not sure how it's going to work out for him. It's going to be very interesting.
Going to take this opportunity now. We're past the halfway point of the race. It's time for the iRacing.com midway race break, brought to you by iRacing.com, the leader in motorsport simulation. Out front right now, the 13 of Dwayne Vincent by about 12 seconds over the 7 of Nelson Rivera. The 9 of Anthony DeBarro rides third. The 90 of Daniel Eberhardt rides fourth. Fifth, the 70 of Scott Eckeridge. 23, Greg Evans in sixth. Seventh, the 24, Thomas J. George. Good run for him. The 8th spot, the 8 of Chad Cole. Carl Shed, last car scored on the lead lap. He is in 9th. 10th to the 87 of Christopher Herlow.
Matt Lacrosse is running in the 11th position. Mike Kelly having a solid day. And we have a caution. We'll get back to the mid-race break in just a second. Stefan Marinak is around in turn 3, the number 99 machine. I'm trying to see what happened to him right there, but this is going to shake everything up. I'm looking at it now. It looks like they were 3 wide going off into turn 3. You see the number 48 get into him. And it just sends him around, and he has a couple of late guys come in and hit him. It looks like that was Christopher Herlow came in with a late hit. This is going to shake everything up. We only have 10 cars on the lead lap right now, 9 excluding the fact that Christopher Herlow was involved in that wreck. This is going to change everything right now.
By my luck, the 48, the 29, going to be the 45, the 87 involved as well, and tough luck for those guys, as Christopher Herlow was scheduled to be the next car that was supposed to get the lucky dog, and not going to do so. So that's going to leave us with roughly 10 cars on the lead lap. Matt Lacrosse first to unlap himself, and Mike Kelly probably going to be the lucky dog. We'll see what happens here as we are underneath the caution flag for the 3rd time tonight. And this is going to change how everybody runs it. And if you're Dwayne Vincent, you trapped a lot of good drivers 1 lap down.
Yeah, but the one thing he didn't do was trap Anthony DeBarro, Daniel Eberhardt, and Scott Eckrich a lap down. They were able to race their way back onto the lead lap. They were sitting 3rd, 4th, and 5th when this happened. All of those drivers are on pit road right now. You can't afford to stay out and try to take the lead back. You got to come in and get 4 fresh tires. So this works out for Dwayne Vincent in that respect. He should come off as the race leader. He has a big gap back to those guys on pit road right now because of all the cars that were in between them. So he's going to have a very easy road down here on pit road. We see Anthony DeBarro is just now getting into his pit box. Dwayne Vincent's already got the left sides jacked up. He's about to be down and away, and the rest of these guys are just getting into their boxes. So easily going to win the battle off Dwayne Vincent.
Next car to come off of pit road will be the 7 of Nelson Rivera. He was 2nd at the time with a caution flag. He had a big gap as well. Going to be a drag race for 3rd off of pit road. It looks like it will be the 9 of Anthony DeBarro, followed by the 90 of Eberhardt, the 70 of Scott Eckrich, and I do believe the 23 of Greg Evans, who's Amsoil machine, going to complete the top 5 as far as that goes off of pit, or top 6, excuse me, off of pit road. So if you're Nelson Rivera, you have a slower car, but you got a much better shot at victory because he was mired down around 20th or so, and now he's going to restart 2nd, and he does have a good shot at getting some clean air, and we all know clean air could be the key to getting your car to victory lane.
Indeed it could. And now the interesting thing happens is how many of these drivers are going to elect to take the wave around. A lot of these drivers had already been on pit road, and they've been on pit road by about 6 to 7 laps, it looks like. So most of these guys already have quite a few laps on their tires. The big question is, do they take the chance that they're going to get another caution and be able to come in and get fresh tires? Or do they just go ahead and accept the fact that they're stuck a lap down and come in and get tires now? It looks like just about all of them are going to elect to stay out and take the wave around. They're hoping for a quick caution to get them back on pit road so they can get fresh tires and be back in the mix of things. Fortunately for them, it doesn't look like it's really going to hurt them too much by doing this because there's so many cars that were trapped a lap down.
As it stands right now, we'll do a quick blast for the top 10 and continue our midway race break. Dwayne Vincent, Nelson Rivera, DeBarro, Eberhardt, Eckrich, your top 5. Thomas George, Chad Cole, Matt Lacrosse, Mike Kelly, Greg Evans, your top 10. And from there on back, 11th goes to the 87 of Christopher Hurlow. 88 of Kyle Tarasca is 12. 13 to the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. The 15 of Scott Simley rides 14. 15 to the 98 of David Washington. 16 to the 22 of Bobby Terrell. The 42 of Scott Stenzel will ride 17th. 18th to the 1 of Sean Casto, and 19th to the 5 of Dan Murray. Rounding out the top 20 will be the 43 of Doug Roth.
At 21st is Jimmy North. 22nd goes to Glenn Campbell. Nick Silver is 23rd. Kevin Linden is 24th. He was actually one of those drivers caught up in that last wreck. 25th right now is Tim Matthews. Corbin Hemstreet is 26th. 27th goes to Mitch Rollo. All of these drivers from Christopher Hurlow on back are 1 lap down. Mitch Rollo is 27th. Brennan Mercer is 3 laps down in 28th. 29th goes to Carl Shedd. He's 4 laps down, and rounding out the top 30, Stefan Marinak, who has retired from the race. He's 5 laps down at the moment. He is in the 30th position. The rest of these drivers as well are also already out of the race. Mike Montesi, actually he is still on the racetrack. Douglas Wyatt is in the 32nd position. Mark Bratcher is 33rd. Rhett McBride 34th. Joseph Theis is 35th. Steve Gottschalk is 36th. Sean Boundy 37th. Ross Cato 38th. Rich Jetty is 39th. He is out of the race. CJ LaVere also out of the race. He is in 40th. And then Adam Blattell, Nicholas Cohan, and Brian Harvey round out the field. They are all out of the race as well. They were caught up in those first couple of incidents at the beginning of the race, and unfortunately were not able to continue.
This has been your iRacing.com midway race break. For more information on the wide variety of racing possibilities on the web, visit iRacing.com to sign up today. And as the pace car dives to the safety pit road, will roll off once again. American Ethanol green flag waves once again. Dwayne Vincent with a great jump. 3 wide battle for second. DeBarro, trouble! DeBarro, Rivera in the wall. The 90 Eberhardt's around. Collects the 24 George. Big caution. Big junk in turn number 1. Big trouble already, and this is going to put a big advantage in Dwayne Vincent's pocket.
That just took out 2 out of the 3 top runners, or at least one of the 3, but it looks like it might have hurt Anthony DeBarro's car as well. But it took out so many other drivers back in the pack. I saw Chad Cole get caught up in it. I saw Thomas George get caught up in it. David Washington, Jose Gonzalez, half the field was caught up in that because of that 3 wide move going off into the corner. That was a very aggressive move. I understand we're getting close to the end of this race, but I don't know if that move needed to be made the way it was. Nelson Rivera did not get going the way he wanted to, but unfortunately, I don't think that warranted the 3-wide call.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It looked like the 9, the 90, the 7 got involved, the 24, 8, 21, 23, 80. I mean, just everybody piling right in there. And it's going to be interesting to see who's going to come out of this as any kind of legitimate challenge, because it looks like right now the two guys that did have the fastest cars along with Scott Eckridge make that the 3 fastest cars. They were all involved in some way, shape, or form in that wreck.
Anthony DeBarro has some pretty severe right front damage, enough to where it's certainly going to affect the aerodynamics of this car. Scott Eckridge has a little bit of right rear damage. He got clipped by a couple of those cars as they were spinning. He looks to be the best off out of those that were involved in it. I think he's certainly going to have some issues he might need to have worked out at this point. But like you said, this is going to play big for Dwayne Vincent. He was clean and clear of all of that when that happened. He was way out in front of those guys and had nothing to worry about. And just did an absolutely incredible job getting up through the gears right now. And you see Scott Eckridge and Anthony DeBarro back there with a little bit of damage. So this is going to really work out for him right now.
We're going to take this opportunity to catch our breath here and get them belts pulled tight here. And you are watching the Texas 125 for the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series. We're going to go LSRTV non-stop so you don't miss a moment of the action. And this is iRacing Live and LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
The 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series is all about change. New teams, new drivers, new tracks, even a new logo. And oh yeah, there's a brand new car. After 5 years of competition, we say goodbye to the Williams FW31 and we say hello to the McLaren MP430. But this isn't just a brand new car, it's a whole new ballgame. And with it, we bring new excitement, new strategies, new technology. For example, energy recovery and drag reduction systems. There's a new way of thinking about racing, and for all the drivers participating, it's back to the drawing board, wiping the slate clean in the ever-consuming pursuit of perfection. One little slip-up, one wrong move on track, one poor strategy call, and it's over. That's the difference between coming up short and becoming champion and being $10,000 richer to boot. So yeah, change is in the air, but we're going to start getting answers on the 27th of February as the 7th year of iRacing World Championship competition kicks off. And you won't miss a thing, with every single race live on iRacing Live, coverage brought to you by Racebot TV. So join us fortnightly from 1:30 p.m. GMT.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks and terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental US, including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Welcome back to the Texas 125. The American Ethanol green flag waves in the air. Vincent already on the loud pedal here as we come back from that latest incident between the top 3 cars there. Dwayne Vincent going to get the edge. Anthony Navarro, heavy damage on his machine. The 70 of Scott Eckert going to fall into third. The 23 of Greg Evans. Oh, trouble. 1 car around. 2 cars around. The 21 of Matt Lacrosse. The 80 of Mike Kelly go around on the back straightaway.
Yeah, Calamity Corner strikes once again. Mike Kelly, Matt Lacrosse get caught up in it. It does not appear that anybody else was. They went down and bounced off that inside wall. They slid back across the track, but everybody was able to avoid it. Once again, though, we are back under caution. This feels like the start of the race. We had a caution. We got back going, and then before we even got off turn 2, we have another caution. I feel like we're kind of in a flashback moment right now. These guys are having a hard time getting off turn 2. Heavy smoke coming out of Mike Kelly's car right now. That's really disappointing. He was having a solid day. He'd moved up inside the top 5. He was just running a very good race, and now, unfortunately, it's not going to end the way he wanted it to. As can be said for a lot of other drivers, right now, we only have 16 cars on the lead lap. That's how many cars got caught up in that last big wreck. Everybody else is either fixing damage or already has parked it for the day.
As it stands right now, Dwayne Vincent still your leader. The 9 Anthony Navarro rides second. The 70 of Scott Eckert will ride third. Fourth to the 23 of Greg Evans. And up from 14th, the 88 of Kyle Tarasca will restart in the 5th position. And how about the 43 of Doug Roth, Brian? All the way up from the 40th starting spot plus 34. He will restart in the 6th spot.
Yeah, Doug having a very good day. He was one of those guys that elected to take a provisional at the beginning of this race. He did not qualify. He didn't have a lot of speed in practice. He was 39th in practice. He just did not show any speed like he wanted to, but avoiding all the wrecks and staying out of trouble. And he's up in here inside the top 10, and he could have a shot at getting a good finish, maybe even a shot at the win, depending on how the cards fall for him. It could be very fun. Another one I wanted to give a little shout out to is Jimmy North. He started in the 28th position. We don't normally get to talk about him very much, but he's up there in the 7th position right now. Both of these drivers having a very solid night and looking to close this out with a good finish, and I'm sure they're both loving it. They don't typically get to run this far up at the front, so they're having a blast right now, I'm sure.
It's been a while. I'd say it's been about 3 or 4 years since we've seen Doug Roth up there and old Bug Eyes Jimmy North up there running strong, and he don't have a scratch on his car, which is a good to see for Jimmy, because he just seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And with that said, the 51 and Nick Silver going to be your lucky dog. He's going to get the free pass and put himself back on the lead lap. 17 cars on the lead lap as we work underneath the 5th caution flag of the night. And I gotta say, you have to wonder, Brian, who's going to come down and get tires here in the next caution flag or 2?
I'm not sure, but I think I can talk to somebody that might be able to answer that question for us. We have tried to tap into Dwayne Vincent here on the track. Dwayne Vincent, can you hear us down there, buddy?
I got you.
All right, Dwayne, let's talk about that last restart. You took off, and then all of a sudden in your rearview mirror, you saw half the field get caught up in a wreck. What was going through your mind as that happened?
The wrong ones got caught up in it.
Indeed, that is true. With less than 40 laps to go, what is your plan to try to come home with a victory here today?
Man, be honest with you, I kind of lucked out being up here. Anthony DeBarro, Scott, Greg, all those guys are really, really good. They're much better than I am. They're faster than I am, even on a long run. So I'm just kind of hanging on for dear life, man. Just gonna run my race and see what happens.
All right, and if the cards play out, hopefully we'll see you back in here with an interview later on tonight. You've had a good run all night long. We hope that you can carry that through. We'll let you get back to it. Good luck out there, and we hope to talk to you here in just a little bit.
Thank you, bud.
All right, that was your race leader, driver the number 13, Dwayne Vincent, down there giving us a little bit of his time to join us in the broadcast booth. We hope to see him do well here on the next restart. He's got a couple of hard chargers right behind him, though. Anthony DeBarro and Scott Eckert are right behind him, and they want to try to get back out front as quickly as possible.
Yeah, but you can't count out the 13 of Dwayne Vincent. He has a lot of knowledge to defending RSR Full Throttle Cup Series champion. He does have the experience to know what it takes to outlast him as we are inside of 40 to go. It was 40 to go at the stripe. 1 to go signal given to the pace car driver. Everybody doubling up side by side as we file them around just one more time, getting ready to throw the American Ethanol green flag back on the racetrack. And We've got 5 cautions for 19 laps thus far. I want to say about 4 or 5 different leaders and about 6 different lead changes or so. 10 lead changes, I do believe, is what I'm getting from my producer, Brian. So a semi-competitive race thus far, but the best is yet to come, Brian, as I believe it's going to come down to crunch time. We're going to start seeing short tracking here at the big 1.5 mile in the big state of Texas.
Yeah, like you just mentioned, less than 40 laps to go. Business has picked up. We already saw one 3-wide move for the race lead. Can we see another one, or for a shot at the race lead, will we see another one? We're about to find out as the iRacing Ford First Mustang is about to pull to the safety of pit road, and when it does, we're going to go back green once again. Here he comes to the safety of pit road. Dwayne Vincent's in control. He hits the loud pedal. He takes off. He's got a very, very good restart over Anthony DeBarro, clear by 2 car lengths as they set sail into turn 1. Greg Evans got a good restart out there on the outside line. He's going to get by Scott Eckrich as they work down into turns 1 and 2. Scott's going to try to squeak back in there, not going to be able to do it. Greg Evans going to get the run and clear down the back straightaway. He's now setting his sights on Anthony DeBarro.
Greg Evans almost brought a piece of the wall a little bit further behind them. The 84 of Jimmy North going to be under attack, I do believe, for about that 8th or 9th spot on the racetrack. He's trying to get around the 15 of Scott Simley as well. Those guys locked head-to-head as they're side-by-side on the front straightaway.
Yeah, they continue to fight back there around that position. Meanwhile, back up front, Anthony DeBarro is trying to get back up to the race lead. Dwayne Vincent, despite saying that he didn't have the speed in his car that he was looking for, he has done a great job hanging on here in the early stages of this restart. A little bit further back, however, we do have a very good battle. Corbin Hemstreet just squeezed underneath of the number 84, Jimmy North. He's going to be able to easily make that move, and he's now going to try to close in on those guys that are ahead of him. He's already lost about a second to the guys in front of him, so he's going to have his work cut out for him if he's going to run those guys back down.
Yeah, I got a big old hornet's nest. The 51 of Nick Sober, he was your free pass car. He's already charging up through the field. Got around both the 8 of Chad Cole, who has damage, and the 84 of Jimmy North. He's working underneath the 33, the old Harry Gant Special there, the Skull Classic machine of Glenn Campbell, and he's already done. So he's got a sight set on Corbin Hemstreet. I do believe that's going to be Nick Silver, 10th to 8th in just 1 lap, and he's already on the charge with about 2.5 seconds in a rear of everybody else. Single file through the top 7 cars, and everybody from about 9th on back, all scrambling to get what they can get as it is crunch time as we're coming around. Going to be 35 laps to go at the stripe.
Yeah, and as we look back to the front, Dwayne Vincent still holding on to that 2.5 car length lead. Greg Evans in the number 23 machine slapped the wall off turn 4. He's going to lose a ton of time. He's going to have to give up that position to the number 70 of Scott Eckrich. He might also have to give up that position to the number 88 of Kyle Taraska. He's going to hang on for the time being. Almost kisses the outside wall yet again. But able to keep it off the wall that time, and he's going to fall back to the 4th position and try to get back into a rhythm here. Back to what I was getting ready to say, though, I almost wonder, Justin, if the damage that we see on both Anthony DeBarro's car and Scott Eckrich car is holding them back a little bit, because they were very fast at the beginning of this race, and Dwayne Vincent, like we talked about, did not have the speed that they had, and he was not able to keep up with them, but right now he's actually pulling away from them, so I have to believe that damage might actually be hurting them some and could play into who ends up taking home the checker flag today.
Very well could. Right now, the 88 Chick-fil-A Chevrolet gets around the Amsoil Chevrolet of Greg Evans. Taraska up to that 4th spot. He's got his sights set on the 70 of Scott Eckrich, who's trying to chase down the 9 of Anthony DeBarro, and DeBarro going to reel back in Dwayne Vincent by a couple of hundredths that last time around. But you have to wonder, with all that damage on the right front corner, is how much is Anthony DeBarro going to burn on up that right front tire on his machine. As Scott Eckrich is there knocking on the door, he's looking to the inside in turns 3 and 4.
Looking to the inside, but not able to make the move at the moment. He's going to have to try again when they get to turn 1. He was not able to do it there. He's going to have to try to set him up and do it again. Not able to get the run down the front straightaway. These guys are trying to race hard for 2nd spot, but they're also trying to catch Dwayne Vincent at the same time. And I just looked at the scoreboard. We have 30 laps to go. This is going to be the longest run that I think these guys are going to have to make work without pitting. I don't believe they can do the short pit strategy and be able to make it work. As Scott Eckrich forces his way under Anthony DeBarro to take that 2nd position, easily does so. He drove it off into that corner and pretty much told Anthony DeBarro, you give me this position or I'm going to take it from you. And he did just that. He took that position away from Anthony DeBarro, but these guys are not going to be able to do that short pit strategy that we've seen all race long. I have a feeling they're going to have to run this thing to the end, which means tires are going to be at a premium if this thing stays green. They're going to have about 45 laps on their tires, so it's going to be very interesting to see who manages their tires if it stays green all the way.
Another thing to watch out for could be fuel, because if you burn it up a little too hard, you're going to end up running that ever so precious Sunoco race fuel out of these virtual race machines. And Eckrich is right there. He's only losing about a couple hundredths of a second per lap, and he may lose a few more than that because he's got to deal with the 80 of Mike Kelly on the back straightaway. He's going to lose a little bit of time, and it's going to be probably worth about, I would say, a tenth or so, as Eckrich is putting it right down just about on that white line right there to 3 and 4. He can get to the bottom a little bit better than 9 Anthony DeBarro, who's dealing with heavy right front damage. But Dwayne Vincent, again, he's going to pull out not as much as what I thought. He only lost 8 thousandths of a second. Eckrich could possibly be faster in his Toyota.
Well, we saw at the beginning of this race that Scott Eckrich had a very strong car the longer the run went. He was able to close down on Anthony DeBarro at the beginning of this run by about 3 seconds. He was able to run him down and take the race lead away. I certainly think that we could see this happen again because he's still got a pretty good handling car. He's able to cut about a half a tenth off Dwayne Vincent that time by, so he's certainly still showing a lot of speed, and it looks like while he's got a lot of damage to that right rear, it's not affecting the car as much as Anthony DeBarro's car is being affected right now. We're seeing Anthony really struggle to get to the bottom of the racetrack going off into the corner. You see right there, he is just not able to turn that car down to the bottom of the track, and that's really kind of playing havoc with his chances to win this race. He's just not doing what he needs to do at this point. I almost feel like he's going to need a caution and be able to come in and get some damage fixed if he's going to be competitive.
Yeah, he's going to need a caution. He definitely needs repairs to that right front of that machine, the 88 of Kyle Carrasco, the next in line to try to take advantage of that, but he's not gaining much ground on DeBarro. DeBarro's just kind of on an island right there, about 9 tenths of a second back, and as we come around this time by, going to be 26 laps to go. Scott Eckrich, right there. He's within about 2 car lengths or so from the lead, and he's actually took about 2 tenths of a second that time by. It's going to be a battle for the lead as we look right on the back straightaway. Eckrich is there knocking on the door. You have to wonder just how much is Dwayne Vincent willing to fight, knowing that he's got to go another 25 laps to the finish, Brian.
I have to believe you're probably going to see him let Scott Eckrich go. Dwayne Vincent is one of those veteran drivers, and he knows at this point of the run Scott is a little bit quicker than him, and I have a feeling you're going to see him just kind of pull over and let him go if he gets there. But they were actually able to maintain the gap between each other. Dwayne was able to hold that gap at just under 2 tenths of a second, so he might have been holding some back, and now that Scott has caught him, he might start showing a little bit more. Maybe he wasn't running as hard as he could have at the beginning of this run. He might have just been managing his tires, and we see Scott Eckrich is running as hard as he can right now to try to catch back up and take this lead away. And meanwhile, they're leaving Anthony DeBarro in the rearview mirror. He has not been able to keep pace with these guys at all. He's back over 1.1 seconds right now, and now you see Scott Eckrich once again trying to sneak underneath Dwayne Vincent, not able to do it. As they come off turn 2, he's got a head of steam. He's going to try to make that run as they go down into turn 3.
It's right underneath each other. Scott Eckrich right there, all over the back deck lid of the 13 of Dwayne Vincent, your defending Full Throttle Cup Series champion. The champion sticks it right down on that white line and tries to keep a smoother arc. He's not quite as able to get as low as Eckrich. As Eckrich looks to the inside, Vincent looks like he's just going to give him the spot. He's going to pull over and let him go. Eckrich right down on the bottom side, but Vincent fighting back up on the top side. They're wheel to wheel through 1 and 2 as they reach the back straightaway. Edge still to Dwayne Vincent. He's going to put the power down on that Havlin Ford.
He fought hard on that outside line and was able to clear Scott Eckrich. He drives it off into turn 3 harder than he wanted to. That allows Scott to get a run coming off turn 4. Dwayne Vincent had to back out of it in order to keep that car from going to the wall, and he's now going to barely be able to hang on to this race lead. Scott Eckrich is trying to do everything he can to try to make this move and get this lead back from him. I almost think you might have to see him do what we saw David Washington do earlier in the race and move up to that second or third groove in 1 and 2 and try to get a big run down the back straightaway. I think that might be his best shot at trying to get under Dwayne Vincent and take this lead away.
As it stands right now, we're going to take this opportunity to step aside one final time. We're going to go LSRTV nonstop so you don't miss a moment of the action for the race lead. Coming to you live from the Texas Motor Speedway. This is the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series on iRacing Live and LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
The 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series is all about change. New teams, new drivers, new tracks, even a new logo. And oh yeah, there's a brand new car. After 5 years of competition, we say goodbye to the Williams FW31 and we say hello to the McLaren MP430. But this isn't just a brand new car, it's a whole new ballgame. And with it, we bring new excitement, new strategies, new technology. For example, energy recovery and drag reduction systems. There's a new way of thinking about racing, and for all the drivers participating, it's back to the drawing board, wiping the slate clean in the ever-consuming pursuit of perfection. One little slip-up, one wrong move on track, one poor strategy call, and it's over. That's the difference between coming up short and becoming champion and being $10,000 richer to boot. So yeah, change is in the air, but we're going to start getting answers on the 27th of February as the 7th year of iRacing World Championship competition kicks off. And you won't miss a thing, with every single race live on iRacing Live, coverage brought to you by Racebot TV. So join us fortnightly from 1:30 p.m. GMT.
Welcome back to the LSR TV's live coverage of the Texas 125. You're watching a battle for the race lead. Dwayne Vincent, Scott Eckrich still nose to tail as we're coming up on 15 laps to go here. It'll be 16 to go next time by, and Dwayne Vincent still has the edge by about a car length over the 70 of Scott Eckrich. These two have been battling really hard. Anthony Navarro a distant 1.5 seconds back, and Kyle Taraska, Greg Evans, and Evans battling with Corbin Hemstreet for that 5th spot, but the focus right now up at the front of the pack, Brian. Scott Eckrich, he's going to have to figure something out because he might be starting to burn up his stuff, because I've seen Dwayne Vincent start to eke out a little bit of a lead unless Scott Eckrich is backing up just slightly to save a little bit of tires and try to get him in about 10 laps or so.
Yeah, at this point, I don't really think you can afford to save your tires. You have to kind of go as hard as you want, because if he lets Dwayne Vincent get away from him, it's going to be very hard to run him back down. You see, he closes back on the rear bumper of Dwayne as they go through turns 3 and 4. He got through the center of the corner really well. He gets loose off turn 4. Heck of a save by Scott Eckrich. He was barely able to hang on to that thing, but that's going to kill his momentum, and that's going to cost him a lot of time. He loses at least 0.2 of a second, maybe a little bit more. He's able to gather it back up, and he's going to have to really work hard now to get back to Dwayne Vincent if he's going to have a shot at this thing. That probably really hurt his tires, though. If he had anything left in his tires, that slide off turn 4 probably just killed it.
Well, we mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, Brian. What if he were able to run the 98s line? That's David Washington. We've seen him ride the top side in 1 and 2. Do you think he can really use that line to gain an advantage and close back in on the 13 of Dwayne Vincent?
I certainly think he needs to try something at this point. He's still closing back in on Dwayne Vincent. He's still got a fast car, and he's making some good lap times. But in order to make that move and make the pass for the lead, I almost think he's going to have to try something like we saw David Washington doing. Just following in the footsteps of Dwayne Vincent is not going to get this win for him. He's going to have to do something and be aggressive and make a move if he's going to take this thing away from Dwayne Vincent. And we already saw Dwayne Vincent. He's going to race for it. I thought he was going to pull over and let him go, but he decided he wants to try to win this race, so he's going to stay out there and try to prove a point and win this race here today by racing as hard as he can. And here comes Scott Eckrich once again. He closes back up on the back bumper, did a really good job, almost hits the wall off turn 2, has a scary moment once again. We can definitely tell Scott Eckrich is driving as hard as he can at this point.
There's blood in the water, and Eckrich is smelling it just like a hungry, hungry shark, as the 13 of Dwayne Vincent has to deal with the lap machine of the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, and Lacrosse wisely pulls aside on the straightaway. That's not necessarily going to hurt Dwayne Vincent, but you have to wonder if it killed his momentum off the corner slightly, as the 70 of Eckrich is right there within a car length We're 11 laps to go next time by, Brian. It is certainly crunch time, and you have to wonder how ill are these cars handling, and are we going to see a repeat of 1 year ago? Jeff Ward used the bumper to get around Nick Silver to get to the victory. Is Eckrich going to use his bumper to get around Dwayne Vincent for the victory this year?
It very well could happen. These guys are racing hard enough for it to happen. And to answer your question about the handling of these cars, we just saw an example of how these cars are handling when Scott Eckrich got loose a couple of laps ago. These cars are all over the place right now, and the longer this run goes, the harder they're going to be to drive. We're going to see these guys skate around from here to the finish, and if it stays green to the checkered, it's going to be the longest run we've seen any of these drivers run on a set of tires. So that's really going to play into this. It could be a little bit of a mystery for these guys because they really don't know what the cars are going to do after 35 to 40 laps. That could certainly play into this as well. Scott Eckrich is trying everything he can right now. He actually moves up about a half a groove through 1 and 2, trying to see if maybe he can get a run. He has to deal with the lap car of Christopher Herlow. That's actually going to hurt him. As he came off the corner, he had to check up a little bit, it looks like, in order to not run into Christopher Herlow, so that's going to cost him a little bit of time, and he's running out of laps to have that happen. He needs to be closing in and making a move now. He can't afford any more mistakes like that.
Good run for the 51 of Nick Silver. He's battling with the 23 of Greg Evans and Corbin Hemstreet. He's run up from 17th all the way to provisionally 5th by the time they come back around. He scored 6th right now as of the last scoring loop. He's side by side with Greg Evans for that 5th spot. Great run by him, but back up here towards the front, you have to wonder, Dwayne Vincent expertly using lap traffic to help him try to hold off that 70 of Scott Eckrich, and Eckrich still digging hard. The gap is 1 car length, call it 3/4 of a car length now off of turn number 4, inside of 10 laps to go. And it's going to be 8 laps to go at the stripe. Dwayne Vincent, a 1 car length advantage over the 70 of Scott Eckrich.
Yeah, these guys have not really lost any time to one another in the last 10 laps, other than when we saw Scott Eckrich get loose and he was able to make that time back up. But it looks like he actually got really loose off turn 2 and is going to give up some time right there. He is starting to, looks like he might have wore the tires out and starting to lose a little bit of ground. This could be the beginning of the end for Scott Eckrich. It looks like he's really starting to fall back. And it looks like Dwayne Vincent, being strong and steady, might have been able to pull this thing off. He's now out to a 3.5 tenth advantage over Scott Eckrich and 2.3 seconds back to Anthony DeBarro. So if he just hits his marks for the next 7 laps, Scott Eckrich in the wall. That's going to be the end of it for him. He's got a lot of damage now added to that car. He's going to fall way behind, and Dwayne Vincent just needs to hit his marks, and he's going to bring one home.
Eckrich, you have to feel for him. He's given it his all, and it's looked like it's going to come up short for him today. 6 laps to go for your leader, Dwayne Vincent. 1 second now the gap back to the 70 of Scott Eckrich. 2.6 back to the 9 of Anthony DeBarro. Corbin Hemstreet rides 4th, 4.3, but Nick Silver's right there looking at the door. He's right there with Corbin Hemstreet side by side off of turn 2.
Yeah, these guys are putting on a really good battle back here. Nick Silver's trying to take that 4th position away. He's not going to be able to do it right now, but certainly certainly trying to make the move here as they come off turn 4. Chad Cole is trying to to move into this battle too. Corbin Hemstreet just had a problem off turn 4 though. That's going to allow Nick Silver to easily get by and brings Chad Cole along with him. Greg Evans now is also going to try to sneak into the picture here. So these guys are having a heck of a battle for around that 5th position.
You have to wonder where the 8 of Chad Cole come from with all that damage on his race car. I tell you what, as we're inside of 5 laps to go, going to be 4 at the stripe as Dwayne Vincent certainly looks to have this one in hand. A caution flag now would indeed end the race, so Dwayne Vincent is caution proof. All he has to do is make just 3.5 more perfect laps.
Yeah, 3.5 more perfect laps, and that's it. He will get another victory here in the Full Throttle Cup Series, and the defending series champion, showing why he's the defending series champion. He avoided the issues earlier on, stayed out of trouble. He actually did a little bit of a strategy call, one that we weren't sure about. When he chose to stay out way longer than everybody else, it worked out in his favor because when the caution did fly, he was the race leader, which also ultimately put him in front of that humongous wreck that we saw down in turns 1 and 2, and it has put him in the position he's in now with a shot to win this race with less than 3 laps to go. Certainly what he was looking to do here today. The battle around 4th has settled down. Chad Cole is in the 5th position. He's trying to chase down Nick Silver. He's running out of time, but he still might have a shot at him. He's about a car length and a half behind them, and if he can close in on him, he might have a shot here.
Cole looking to the inside of Silver out of turn number 4. 2 laps to go this time by Cole looking to the inside of Silver for that 4th spot. It's a lap and a half to go for Dwayne Vincent. All he's got to do, again, is, like we said, he's got to make a perfect lap. He pointed his way into the chase last year, and he's looking to do it the other way around. He's trying to win his way into the chase this year. All he has to do is just make one more good lap.
One more good lap, and that will be it. He will be locked into the 2016 chase. He's going to come and see the white flag. He's only got to do it for another mile and a half, and he's going to bring it home to victory lane. We do see Chad Cole and Nick Silver still back there battling. It actually looks like Nick Silver is going to be a little bit further ahead, but Dwayne Vincent's off turn 2 for the last time.
Coming through turns 1 and 2 for the final time, Dwayne Vincent, the defending Cup champion, struggled I don't know how many times to get a win last year. He pointed his way into the chase this year. It's not going to have to happen that way. Dwayne Vincent charges through 3 and 4 for the final time. Checker flag in the air. Dwayne Vincent will win round number 6 here from the Texas Motor Speedway. Dwayne Vincent wins his way into the chase. That is a big relief for that driver. The 70 of Scott Eckrich will come home second. The 9 of Anthony DeBarro will round out your podium. Nick Silver 4th. Chad Cole 5th. Greg Evans 6th. 7th to the 69 of Corbin Hemstreet. Kyle Taraska 8th. The 9th spot goes to the 43 of Doug Roth. And rounding out the top 10, old Bug Eyes, Jimmy North.
How about both of those drivers? They started well outside the top 10. Doug Roth started in the 40th position, comes home 9th, and Jimmy North started 28th and comes home 10th. That's an incredible run for both those drivers. I'm sure they're ecstatic about that. And Dwayne Vincent's down here on the front stretch about to burn it down for his first victory in the 2016 campaign, and he can officially say he's locked into the chase. And like you said last year, Justin, he pointed his way in. He doesn't have to do that this year. He's in by virtue of a victory. So celebrating down here on the front stretch. We're going to see him go up there and grab the flag here in just a second, and I'm sure he's going to have a lot of exciting things to say when he's down in Gatorade Victory Lane here in just a few minutes.
As we get ready to head off towards the post-race show, a great race by everybody nonetheless here, and we'll get ready and bring it to you live. The post-race show coming up to you next from the Great American Speedway is the Texas 125 for RSR Full Throttle Cup Series, coming to you live on iRacing Live and LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks and terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Welcome back, everybody, to the LSR TV post-race show. Dwayne Vincent taking the checkered flag. The 70 of Scott Eckrich going to be on the middle step of the podium, and rounding out that podium will be the 9 of Anthony DeBarro. He finishes third. 51 of Nick Silver finishes fourth after finishing second a year ago. The 5th spot goes to the 8 of Chad Cole. 23 of Greg Evans will finish 6th. 7th to the 69 of Corbin Hemstreet. 88, Kyle Taraska finishes 8th. 9th spot goes to the 43 of Doug Roth, all the way up from the 40th starting spot, and rounding out the top 10, old Bug Eyes, Jimmy North in the 84.
Nelson Rivera, who had a shot at the race win earlier on, was caught up in one of those big wrecks. He comes back to finish in the 11th position. Kevin Linden will finish 12th. 13th goes to Glenn Campbell. Scott Simley will finish 14th, and the last car that finished on the lead lap here tonight is Sean Casto. He finishes in the 15th position. The next couple of drivers were all one lap down. Matt Lacrosse finishes 16th. Mitch Rollo is 17th. Tim Matthews is 18th, and then 3 laps down, finishing 19th, is Brendan Mercer. And rounding out the top 20, Daniel Eberhardt, after a solid run at the beginning of the race, got caught up in that big wreck. He finishes 20th, 5 laps down.
21st to the 87 of Christopher Hurlow. The 80 of Mike Kelly finishes 22nd. 31, Mike Montez, finishes 23rd. 24th to the 28 of Douglas Wyatt. 46 of Mark Bratcher finishes 25th. 26th to the 25 of Joseph Tice. The 2 of Rhett McBride, he'll finish 27th. 28th to the 42 of Scott Stenzel. 22, Bobby Terrell finishes 29th. Rounding out the top 30, 2 weeks ago's winner, the 98 of David Washington, comes home a disappointing 30th.
Jose Gonzalez finishes 31st. Thomas George will finish 32nd. Dan Murray finishes 33rd. 34th goes to the number 45 of Carl Shedd. Stefan Marinak finishes 35th. Ross Cato will finish 36th. Steve Gottschalk finishes 37th. Sean Boundy will take home 38th position. Adam Blattell will finish 39th. And then rounding out the field, Rich Jetty finishes 40th. CJ Levere 41st. Nicholas Cohan 42nd. And Brian Harvey 43rd. That is a look at your full field rundown. And Justin, this has been a crazy race, and I believe we're going to go down the pit road and try to catch up with a couple of our drivers. I do believe you've caught up with our third place finisher, Anthony DeBarro.
I'm actually in victory lane with your winner, the 13 of Dwayne Vincent. He pointed his way into the chase last year. Dwayne, I'm glad to say, friend, you won your way into the chase this year. Title defense on, my friend.
Yeah, man, it's a load off, that's for sure. We got some pretty tough track coming up, Bristol, Talladega. We don't have to worry about that going through these, so it's a big relief.
And Dwayne, I know you had about 7 or 8 races won last year before the chase, and it's through some weird, strange way of events you lost them. I know it's got to feel this good to get your monkey off the back this early in the season. I mean, you just said it yourself. But looking forward, how do you approach the next string of races? Because we do have a mess of short tracks and very difficult tracks up in the upcoming schedule.
Yeah, I'm just going to race like I do every week. I think you can't change anything, because if you do that, you'll start falling off. If you start trying different things. So I'm just going to race like I race every week, try to race clean, and have some fun from here on out until the chase starts.
Now, you had a very strategic move somewhere around mid-race. You stayed out all the way until about lap 70, 71, and you trapped a lot of good cars a lap down and behind you as well after you had just made a pit stop or something of that effect there. Was it a decided strategy call where you're trying to pinch some guys down a little bit, a lap down and hoping for a caution, or was it just you threw something at a wall and see what could stick?
Well, I was just telling Anthony and Scott a minute ago that I actually screwed up. I got too far into the run, and I was like, well, I might as well try to make it on one stop. I saw those guys were pitting around every 30, 31 laps or so. And when I really got deep into the run with like 56 laps or whatever, when the caution came out, I was barely hanging on to it. And I was like, well, I'm too far into it now. I got to stick with this plan. But when the caution came out, that actually saved my rear end, because I feel like that was going to be a mistake.
Well, a mistake turns into a sweet, sweet victory for you, Dwayne. You worked very hard last year. You won the series championship, and now you have a title defense on, my friend. Who's responsible for getting you here in victory lane here tonight?
I just want to thank Mom and Dad. They watch out at their house. They're 2 of the biggest fans I got. They really enjoy it. John Abbott and everybody at RSR, all you guys at LSRTV, we appreciate everything you guys do.
That's your defending Cup Series winner, Dwayne Vincent. He steals the Texas 125 away from everybody that finished on the podium. Scott Eckers and Anthony DeBarro both led laps, and a very good job indeed, Dwayne, and congratulations. We'll look forward to seeing you in the chase come September.
Thank you, man.
Brian Macklin, you caught up with second-place finisher Scott Eckridge.
Yeah, I'm catching up with the guy that finished second. He started on the pole here tonight, but was 1 position shy of bringing home the victory. Scott, you came home second. You fought hard trying to run down Dwayne Vincent in the closing laps, but you just didn't have enough to to seal the deal and take that victory back from him. Take us through the closing laps for you, trying to run him down and trying to make a move for the win.
I thought we had something for him, and there when we caught him, he took our line away, and that just killed our runs. And I just had to push it way too hard to try making a run happen, and just ended up burning the rear tires off the car.
Did the damage that you sustained from the wreck on that one restart where we saw Anthony DeBarro and Daniel Eberhardt and Nelson Rivera get 3 wide, did that have any effect on the handling of your car as the rest of the race played out for you, or did that really not have any issues with your car?
If it did, it was extremely minor. I just pushed that out of my mind the second it happened, and we figured we were going for it. It didn't seem to have a big effect.
And our next stop on the schedule is at the Bristol Motor Speedway, where you probably expect to have quite a bit of damage on your car. What can we expect to see you doing at Bristol Motor Speedway? Are we going to see you up front battling for another victory?
I hope so. It's Bristol can be quite the melee, so it's kind of a question mark. I'm not really sure what to expect there.
All right, Scott. Well, before we let you go, just want to give you a chance to say thank you to any sponsors or friends and family that might be watching. Who makes it happen for you on the number 70 machine?
I'd just like to thank Steel Horse Racing, everything they're doing.
All right, that is the driver of the number 70, Scott Eckrich. He finishes second here tonight at the Texas Motor Speedway. We look forward to seeing you out there on the track next week at Bristol. Congratulations on your good finish, and we'll talk to you later, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, Justin, I do believe you've caught up now. This time I got it right. You're caught up with our third-place finisher, Anthony DeBarro.
Alongside the driver of the number 9 Custom Gaming Garage Chevrolet, Anthony DeBarro. Man, you had a disappointing restart there, and it kind of ended your chances there, but you still held on for a very strong third-place finish. Tell us about it, man. That had to be kind of disappointing for you.
I mean, in this league with the competition, I'll take third any week. But ultimately, I think the damage there in that little 3-wide incident, it caved in the right front end, and so aero dependent at these 1.5 miles. So I think I was just holding on there.
Man, I tell you what, you have to wonder what might have been, but you've already locked yourself into the chase. You're just trying to get bonus points here. Try to get yourself a better head start into the chase coming this year. Tell us about it. I mean, what's your thought process as you approach these races? Because you have locked yourself in with not only one victory, but you've won twice already. What's your thought process, especially approaching tracks like Thunder Valley next week and Richmond and the rest of the gang?
Well, I said to my spotter, Jared Como, he does an awesome job, and I said to him, I was like, what, on the last restart, I'm like, everyone's having a lot of bad luck tonight, a lot of wrecks, and I'm like, I just want to go into Bristol and have a good top 5 and build some points, because ultimately, I know I'm in the chase, but I want to be that points leader going into week 23, I'm sorry.
And last but not least, as we know, we got 2 short tracks coming up here in the next 2 weeks. Anthony, is there going to be anything lingering between you and Eberhardt as you look forward towards Bristol and Richmond, a place where revenge can certainly be exacted?
No, I don't think there's any problems with me and Daniel. I mean, we're both hard racers. You can see that even in the beginning there, swapping positions a couple times. I have a lot of respect for him. I'd never run him over or anything. But going into that short track talk, I don't know if this has been brought up, but Boomtown has never won at a short track. We've been close. I know Corbin's been second a couple times, and that's one thing we want to check off the list. We've won at every type of track, but a short track.
Last but not least, sponsors, shout-outs. Who's responsible for putting you on the podium here tonight, Anthony? Go ahead and give him a big old shout-out.
I couldn't do this Custom Gaming Garage. We had a one race deal with them for Texas. Everyone should check them out on Facebook. They do a lot of computer repairs and cell phones and arcade games, and you could even trade stuff in. You could even mail stuff if you need to get it fixed. Kyle does a great job over there, so everyone go check out Custom Gaming Garage. And couldn't do it without my teammates Mitch, Corbin, and Sean just came on board. I mean, he had tough luck at the beginning, but we'll get him going. And Jared, I mean, I mentioned his name, but thanks for a spot for me tonight.
That's the driver who finished third. That's Anthony DeBarro. And I'll take this opportunity for final thoughts, Brian. What's your takeaway as we leave the Great American Speedway here in Texas?
Well, I think we saw a lot of these guys treating this 1.5 mile speedway like a short track We had a lot of accidents that happened almost in the same fashion that you would see at a short track, where you just had a lot of beating and banging going on, people fighting for track position that maybe wasn't there, and a lot of really good action throughout the course of the night. I really enjoyed seeing Daniel Eberhardt, Anthony DeBarro, and Scott Eckrich battling it out throughout the course of the beginning of this race. They really put on a heck of a show, and then Dwayne Vincent, while he said he felt like it would have been a mistake if the caution didn't come out, that mistake turned into a victory. So that just goes to show you anything can happen in the world of racing. You can take something that isn't going to work out at all and actually make it work out to where you win the race. So a bad call turned good for him, and it locks him into the chase. And now we get to look forward to a couple of weeks of short track racing. That should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Dwayne Vincent, very good on the short tracks, and Anthony Navarro said he wants to win one for Boomtown next week, and you can certainly do that. And I have to say, for my final thought of the evening, Brian, you have to wonder, is there's a changing landscape, so to speak, up at the top of the heap here in the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series, and every week, I think for the next few, we're going to see new names and new faces really try to assert themselves. As we come to a close in segment 1, and segment 2 are going to come up here before too long, Brian, and I really think guys like Scott Eckrich and Nick Silver could very well get their first Full Throttle Cup Series victory. And with that said, going to thank everybody that's helped us put on the production tonight, Cisco Scaramuza, Evan Basoko, and everybody back at the LSRTV shop. And for Brian Macklin, my name is Justin Rosenau, and just saying, catch you on the flip side, folks, because next week we're going to come to you live at 9:30 p.m. for the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series battle from the Thunder Valley. Basically, it's better known, well, it's Bristol, baby. We're going to come to you live from the Bristol Motor Speedway in 1 week's time at 9:30, and you'll catch RSR in full action then. And for that, I say good night, folks.